Good afternoon. We are living in novo evil times, and I am running for president, Matthew Tubasine, Matt, MAT 2024. If elected, I promise to make W one syllable. That's my only campaign promise. But I do have a lot to talk about. Um, I always vote, well, if they offer one up, I always vote libertarian. If there's not a libertarian on the ticket, whatever it happens to be, I vote third party, whatever that looks like. Um, I'm trying to help expand democracy. We've got too little of it in this country, and we are the only democracy that has only two parties. Um, Now I know we have more than two here and there, but they are few and far between. Obviously we're a two-party system. I mean, when you get to the federal level, it's almost all derps and occasionally an independent or a libertarian. And even at the state level, there's not many third parties. But the the biggest problem I see, beyond the fact that we have so little democracy in this country, um, is, and on top of that, whatever our problems are in this country, I can tell you, Miami is the noisiest, most impatient, aggressive city I've ever been in. Some people call this paradise. I have never seen a city so tightly wound as this one. It's just unbelievable, the culture here. I would suggest don't even visit. There's plenty of other places to go. Go to Boulder, Colorado. It's beautiful. If it's been built up too much since I was there last, just go up into the mountains. There's plenty of mountain communities that are even more beautiful. But that's not what I came here to talk about. I do have to get out of the city. This place is. Anyways, yeah, we got a lot of problems federally. Well, we have a lot of problems across the board, but uh, federally, which is where the nation as a whole focuses its attention, we just are so immature and sophomoric anymore. And you keep hearing them talk about kitchen table issues. Oh, one side pointing at the other. They're not talking about kitchen table issues. Nobody is really. I mean, they'll talk about economics from now until the cows come home, and certainly that's a kitchen table issue, but it shouldn't be a political issue. The fact is, if politics stayed out of a free market capitalist economy to a great extent, things would be better. A lot of the ups and downs that we see are all created by politics getting involved. And I know you're never going to be able to separate the two. And I understand that we do need regulation in terms of, well, worker safety, clean air and water, things along those lines. But that right there is a whole conundrum, because as we regulate, the rich monopolistic companies can afford to keep dumping their crap in the river or whatever they're doing, because they get fined, they just pay the fine and they keep doing what they're doing. If a small company gets hit with those regulations, they might just go under. So it's like something that I read about or saw a video about not too long ago, in terms of If you get a traffic ticket, you're paying the same amount of money. You, meaning the average American, is paying about the same amount of money as somebody who's making $1 billion a year. Whereas you go to other countries and they have a sliding scale. So the more money you make, the more money you pay. Because if I get a $20 ticket, it's not going to devastate me, but I'm going to feel it. If a rich guy gets a $20 ticket, that's not going to slow him down. He doesn't care. 20 bucks. He uses those to light his cigars. What does he care about 20 bucks? So, if we had regulation that was a sliding scale, you get caught dumping a barrel of oil in the river and you're a mom and pop organization, maybe it's a few $100s. If you're Exxon, maybe it's a couple billion, sliding scale. But regulation, yeah, we need it, but yeah, there should be balance. And for the government to have their fingers in the economic pie, at least as much as they do, it's not helping things. It only makes the graph that much worse. And a lot of that has to do with the Federal Reserve and being in bed with the bankers. We have a kleptocracy. This is not free market capitalism. As a matter of fact, I've been reading up on this, and I believe that I am a free market anti capitalist, which is a left oriented libertarian view. I've been looking into it more because I've been on Facebook, and Jesus, the people who call themselves libertarians or at least contribute to the posts and the comments on libertarian pages, they're pretty much right of the Republican Party, a lot of them. And regardless of what it's about, if you say, well, I don't agree, their go to their go to phrase is, you commie. But I don't want to get into all that either. Facebook does not reflect reality. But the politics that we're seeing are just so much distraction, so much focused on outrage, and yeah, a lot of political discourse has always been that. Keep people afraid so you can keep them voting for you. You should be afraid. I can fix it. Vote for me. That's how it works. So we see a lot of that. And I understand, that's how the rhetoric works, that's how propaganda works, and you're never going to get away from that completely. But it has just gotten so just over the top. Um, and part of that is mainstream media, which before, as in when I was growing up, we had three national television stations. Uh, we had a morning and an afternoon newspaper, and we had the radio, and that was it. And to a great extent, especially on TV, they had to be neutral. They wanted to get as many people watching and as many advertising dollars as they could, which means they couldn't go left. This is my left, not your left. They couldn't go right. They had to be as much in the middle as they could. And it was largely the same with newspapers, although for some reason they could be a little more, actually they could be a quite bit more biased uh, than the TV stations were. I guess because they were more local. I'm not even sure. But well, we had the three stations. We had a half hour of news in the evening, sometimes an hour news special, like 60 minutes or something like that, where they would cover one topic. Um, but the evening news, I don't even think we had morning news. We may have. It was a long time ago. But it was local. So I don't know where I was going with that. but the stations themselves were national, and they certainly didn't want to lose viewers during that half-hour newscast. So, to a great extent, uh, the local news and especially the national shows they threw up there, like 60 Minutes, and I can't even remember. They had a couple more. I'm sure they had Barbara Walters. They had what were the guys? I can't remember. I obviously hadn't researched this. My idea was I'm not really running for president. I could say whatever the hell I want. Um, I'm hoping to get my voice out there and to change the discourse into something more reflective of reality than what we have now. It has just largely gone so biased, both left and right. Uh, they're both deeply flawed. The right is over the top. I mean, the left is over the top. The right has managed to go over the top, over that top. Don't ask me how, but it's just the outrage they spin, the conspiracy theories. Let me just give you some examples. When Obama wore a tan suit, the right was like, "Oh my God, how disgraceful!" And then the left came out with a photograph of Reagan wearing a tan suit. And then Obama and I think Biden were pictured wearing bicycle helmets at different times. And the right came out and said, "Oh my God, what weaklings, what pussies, they need bicycle helmets." And then the left came out with a photograph of George W. riding a bike with a helmet on. Obama was pictured in the Oval Office with his feet up on the desk. Oh my God, how disrespectful, how disgraceful. Then the left came out with a photograph of George W. with his feet up on the desk. It just is so much finger pointing, and it is just beneath us as a people, and especially beneath the professionalism they should be practicing, all of them across the board on TV, YouTube, whatever. I mean, if you're going to garner a big audience, rise to that level. That ain't going to happen. But in terms of politics, my God, we have some of the most immature babies, and what a bunch of pussies. And understand, that word is a corruption of pusillanimous. Look it up. It doesn't mean a woman's delicate parts. So I have no problems using that. But just what weaklings. They're just outraged by everything. They're clutching their pearls. I have never seen such a bunch of snowflakes on both sides since I was in grade school. I mean, my God, everything is just like, oh my God, a tan suit, a bicycle helmet, his feet are on the desk. And those are just three concrete incidences I could come up with, absolutely, of things that actually happened. Reality. You want to get into the space case stuff? You know, Jewish space lasers, just all of that stuff. I mean, green M&Ms aren't sexy enough. Mr. Potato is now simply Potato. Dr. Seuss, just all of this crap. Oh, you can't say gay. As a matter of fact, we're going to pull every book that has gay in it. So, a woman who writes a children's story that is totally benign has the last name Gay. Oh, we have to pull that book. I mean, come on. When have we, not when, I know when, how, how have we become so weak as a nation that we can't focus on the real problems that are confronting us? And we have to be outraged by stuff that I'm sure there are grade schoolers looking at us saying, what's wrong with the adults? They're like what I would call children. Well, anyways, there you go. I'm going to cut it off there. I've got a whole lot to talk about. I just wanted to get a video out because I've been slacking off lately, and there's a lot to go over, and we will one topic at a time. It's going to take a little bit of research, which I just there's a lot of resistance. I'd rather just spout like I'm doing now, and you're going to hear a lot of that anyways. I figured it worked for Trump. He didn't even know what the hell he was saying half the time, and people loved it. So I'm not even running with an eye towards winning. I should just be able to say whatever the hell I want, right or wrong. But I don't want to be so fantastically wrong that I'm steering people in the wrong direction. Well, he said, and it's on the internet, it must be true. As a matter of fact, if you want to see how screwed up the internet is, look up the video, The Eight Spiders. It goes over how the story about we eat 8 spiders a night in our sleep got started. And it's totally rabbit hole stuff. You wouldn't believe it. But, anyways, there you go. I'm going to cut this off here. I just wanted to let you know the ancient Chinese had a saying, it was a curse slash blessing that goes like this: May you live in interesting times. Well, here we are. So, I thank you for watching, and if you didn't watch, well, what's wrong with you, man? All right, talk to you soon.